the Dyckman Farmhouse Museum. This house is the last farmhouse still standing on the island of Manhattan. It is over 200 years old, made of local stones and wood from around the area at that time. It was built in the late 1700s when William Dyckman came back from upstate New York after retreating after the Revolutionary War, and found the original farmland and the orchards burned down. So he decided to build a new farm on Kingsbridge Road and 204th Street. And this is our beautiful farmhouse today in Inwood, Manhattan. Part of our land includes this amazing Hessian hat. You may be asking, what is a Hessian hat? A Hessian hat was a military hat where the German soldiers who were fighting for British troops were planning their combats and living in houses like this. There were hundreds of hats hiding in the hills of Upper Manhattan at that time. This is the only one that remains from that time. It was brought here piece by piece by amateur archaeologist Reginald Pelham Bolton. And come with me and let's take a look. Eight to 10 soldiers lived in here day in, day out, fighting for the British troops. We know that these soldiers will have been dropped here by boat and then left to fend for themselves and have to use the local wood and stone to build these houses from scratch, where they could live and be able to fight. There was no much combat going on in this area, but there was definitely a very strong military presence for both the patriots and the loyalists. Where this Hessian hat was found in the late 1800s, along with another 59 hats at that time. It was a very interesting spot. It was right underneath 75 apple trees, still standing then, that belong to the Dyckmans, part of the apple orchard. And more interestingly, along with these hats, there were remains of Lenape life. They were burial sites nearby, and along with the Hessian hats that indicated that La Lenape had lived in this area. Pelham Bolton found arrowheads, shells, skeletons, pottery, ashes, remains of foods and plants of these indigenous people that called themselves Lenni Lenape, which meant the genuine ones, the original ones. The Lenni Lenapes called this area Inwood Sharakapok, which means the edge of the river, and they call Manhattan Mannahatta, which meant the island of many hills. Now I want to show you some of our collection pieces that are usually not shown to the public. These are some Revolutionary War items found with this Hessian hat. We have bayonets, we have bullets, some pottery that was found with the Hessian hat, so we know it did not belong to the Dyckman farmhouse exactly. bucket belts and buttons, and musket, which at that time in the 1800s was considered the highest technology for a weapon. It would have shot 3 bullets per minute, which was very fast for colonial standards. Other weapons of choice at that time would have been the bayonet and knives. And I wanted to set up this layout to highlight the contrast with Lenape weapons. Those are original Lenape weapons, arrowheads to be precise, that are more than 3,000 years old, and they are beautiful, as you can see. Look. Originally in this area, the first people that inhabit the area arrived 9,000 years old, 9,000 years ago, and because of the cold climate, probably the animals died, so the humans couldn't rely on game anymore, and they either perished or left this region. And it took thousands of years for a second wave of human inhabitants to come in. Those would have been the Lenapes 3,000 years ago, and they would have stayed in the area and make this their home. There are archaeological findings that tell us that there were 80 encampments in Manhattan, only in Manhattan. And roads, Indian roads that we know were probably made by animals first, and then the Lenapes carved their way into them. The Lenapes were a nomadic people who had different beliefs. They will call certain areas the name of the surrounding nature. They will call areas based on plants or on animals that were particular from that region. They believed in oneness, one with nature. They did not think about owning land or owning water. It would have been as absurd as, them or us thinking that we own air. So when people sometimes ask, did the Dutch, buy Manhattan for $24 from the Lenape, there seems to be a misunderstanding. The Lenape would have not sold the land because they didn't consider the land to be theirs in the first place. That was probably permission that they granted the Dutch to live in the area, to hunt in the area, to gather from the land, but not to own the land. And well, those are some of the highlights that I wanted to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed it, and please follow us on our social media channels. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, dyckmanfarmhouse.org. Thank you very much for watching this, and come visit us soon. We're opening again on October 20th by appointment only. Thank you.